Okay, get this. In a move that is sending absolute shockwave through Silicon Valley, two of the biggest rivals in tech, Apple and Google, are teaming up on AI. We're talking about a massive, multi-year deal that signals a huge shift, not just for them, but for the entire industry.
And to really understand why this is such a bombshell, you just have to look at where things stand right now. On one side, you've got Siri. I mean, yeah, it was a pioneer back in 2011, but let's be honest, it's pretty much stagnated. It's good for basic commands, and that's about it. And on the other side, you have Google's Gemini. It's advanced, it's conversational, it's multimodal. It's the future. So Apple basically has the past, but it desperately needs to buy the future.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the partnership itself. Then, we'll dive deep into Apple's big Siri problem and see how Gemini is the solution. From there, we'll figure out the winners and losers, look ahead to the next big tech battleground, and finally, ask the big question: are we seeing a whole new kind of Apple? So, let's get into the official stuff. The announcement came down on January 13th, 2026, and it is a whopper. Apple is officially turning to its biggest rival, Google, to power the next generation of its AI. And it's all starting with a massive, long overdue upgrade to Siri. Now, you have to listen to how Apple is spinning this because it's key. In their official statement, they're not framing this as some kind of defeat. No. They're positioning it as a smart, strategic choice to bring the absolute best tech and the most innovative experiences to you, their users. So this all begs the big question, right? Why did this even have to happen? How did the company that literally invented the idea of a personal assistant in your pocket get so far behind that it had to make a move this drastic? It's kind of a classic story of a massive head start completely squandered. Back in 2011, Apple was years ahead of everyone. But then, nothing. For years, there was barely any innovation. Then generative AI just exploded onto the scene. Apple's own Apple Intelligence launch totally fell flat, and suddenly they were scrambling. As one source perfectly put it, Apple completely fumbled their position. And let's be real, for most of us, the reality of using Siri was frustrating. It just couldn't handle anything complex, like a multi-step question. It had zero contextual understanding. You could set a timer, sure, but for anything more, it was basically useless. It got so bad that tech analysts and even regular people online started calling it elementary and, my personal favorite, dog water. So Apple's at a crossroads. They're looking at a product that's years behind the competition. They could spend billions of dollars and, more importantly, years trying to catch up. Or they could make a really pragmatic choice to just outsource the brains of the operation to the company that's already leading the pack. And, well, they chose option B. You know, this isn't a totally new playbook for them. It's actually a lot like that deal they've had for years, where Google pays them billions just to be the default search engine in Safari. It's the same idea, right? Apple handles the beautiful, polished interface, the part you touch and interact with, while Google provides the raw power under the hood. But don't get it twisted. This is not just some friendly handshake deal. We are talking about serious money. While the exact numbers are under wraps, the reports are suggesting Apple's paying Google somewhere around $1 billion a year for this. That just shows you how absolutely critical getting AI right is for Apple's future. Okay, so whenever a deal this huge goes down, it creates ripples everywhere. It's like a new move on the chessboard. There are always going to be very clear winners, some definite losers, and then there's the most important piece of all, you, the user, caught right in the middle of it all. So let's break it down. For Apple, the gain is obvious. They get world-class AI overnight. The risk? They kind of have to admit they couldn't build it themselves. For Google, this is a monumental win, embedding Gemini into over 2 billion Apple devices. Just incredible. And for a company like OpenAI, this is a major setback. They just lost a potential partner that could have been a total game changer for them. And to really understand Google's win here, you have to look at the sheer scale. Apple holds a leading 20% of the entire global smartphone market. This deal gives Google's AI instant access to that massive and very valuable user base. It's a distribution channel that could pretty much cement Gemini's dominance for years. All right, so let's get to the part that really matters to you and me. The bottom line is you are about to get a Siri that is smarter, more useful, and just better in every single way. But, and this is a huge but, it comes with a question that hits at the very core of Apple's brand. What happens to your data and your privacy? Now, Apple knows this is a huge concern, so here's their game plan. They're essentially building a privacy wall. So if you ask for something simple, it stays on your device. But for the really complex stuff that needs Gemini's power, your request gets stripped of all your personal info, it's totally anonymized, and then it's sent to Google. So in theory, Google answers the question without ever knowing it came from you.
But here's the thing you have to understand. This partnership is so much bigger than just fixing a broken product on your iPhone. This is a calculated, offensive move to get ready for the next major battleground in tech. And the key to all of this is a term you're going to hear a lot more: multimodal AI. So what does that even mean? Well, think about it like this. It's not just about understanding your voice or text. It's about an AI that can see, hear, and understand all at once. Imagine pointing your camera at a flower and asking Siri, "What kind of flower is this, and where can I buy one nearby?" That's multimodal, and it's absolutely essential for what's coming next.
And this is why it's such a big deal. The future of tech is things like AR glasses that need an AI that can literally see and make sense of the world. It's a truly smart home that you can talk to like a person. This partnership gives Apple the firepower it needs to compete in these new arenas, especially against new AI-focused hardware from competitors like OpenAI. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, what you're really seeing is something much deeper. It's a fundamental shift in Apple's DNA and its long-held philosophy of building every single critical piece of technology in-house. This is a new, more pragmatic Apple, and that's a massive cultural change. And this whole situation raises this fascinating, multi-billion-dollar question about the future of all technology, really. Where is the real value? Is it in owning the powerful AI model in the background, or is it in owning the interface, the screen that the user actually interacts with? And Apple is making its bet crystal clear. They're betting that controlling the user experience, the way it feels, the interface, and that direct relationship with you is ultimately more valuable. They're basically saying, hey, Google, you guys do the expensive hard work of building the engine. We'll keep the most valuable asset of all, the customer. So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Is this a brilliant strategic move that keeps Apple at the top of the food chain for the next decade of AI? Or, by outsourcing the very brains of its future products, is the famously self-reliant Apple kind of sacrificing its soul? The answer to that is going to define the next chapter for the entire company.